This video is for you if you find yourself thinking that you really want your ex to experience negative consequences of their behavior, or to experience what they put you through, or just kind of get their just desserts for their mistreatment of you. I can relate to this. One, my nickname growing up was Little Miss Fairness, so I absolutely understand having that sense of wanting there to be equilibrium and tit for tat in behavior and in life. But also, I have had this experience in a relationship as well, where I thought, if only you could feel what I just went through, somehow that would be satisfying or something like that. A couple things I want to offer. One, just because you're not seeing that person go on and date someone else who then will provide that sense of justice through maybe not choosing them or hurting them, because I think that's a lot of what we do is it's like, I want you to go through what I went through. So just because they're not going through that with another person, or at least you don't know that they are, doesn't mean that they're not hurting themselves. And this is not to provide empathy for them or not. This is not for or against empathy towards this person. This is from I would say, science and data-driven perspective. Most people who exhibit destructive behavior towards others are also self-destructive. So these wounds that catalyze treating people poorly, it's not an excuse. They're responsible for not doing that. But if those things go unchecked and they decide to not do the work to not treat people poorly as a result of their wounds and their beliefs and their trauma, whatever it is, they typically are deeply, deeply suffering in their own right. So just because they're not experiencing those consequences at the hands of someone else does not mean that they are not self-destructing and experiencing consequences internally. Secondly, I do believe that while forgiveness is not, how do I want to say this? Forgiveness is something that you do selfishly. Do it for yourself, or you can do it selfishly. You don't have to forgive someone for them. You do forgive someone because otherwise you stay tied to them. Holding a grudge against someone who hurts you equals staying connected to someone who hurts you. And I would say wanting that kind of revenge karma type of thing is the flip side of not forgiving, or one of the byproducts of not forgiving. So you can forgive someone because you selfishly want to be disconnected from them in every way, and holding a grudge equals staying connected. The last thing I want to point out is that if you really struggle with this thought, it could be that you are not focusing enough on creating the life of your dreams. Future you in 10 years, who has the money, the job, the relationship, the passions, the adventure, whatever it is that lights you up, the future version of you that has all the things that you want and is so happy and content and satisfied, is not going to be worried about whether or not that person got their just desserts. Or at least I should say the vast majority of you, or at least 99% of the time, you won't be thinking about that. So if you find yourself obsessing over something happening, them experiencing emotionally, not saying something happening to them, but them experiencing the kind of negative emotion that you experience, if you find yourself looping on those thoughts, it could be because you're not putting enough energy into creating your own life. And it's this sense of like, I don't want them to have a happiness that I'm not going to have. But I absolutely believe we do create our own happiness. And so if you're focused on that, if you take all the energy you're putting towards this thought about them, putting it towards yourself, you might find that some of those thoughts stop.